I mean, we might be able to do something with wine glass. I just don't know. There is apparently some contradiction in here, but it's not in plain sight. Maybe in plain sight for Mia, but I'm with Phoenix. It was the Nickel Samurai that I saw. I mean, it might be here? But again, the tabloid stuff, that doesn't prove that it was Adrian. I mean, we know that Lana was trying to do something with that to be able to catch Adrian in the act, and then somehow her camera got stolen. But she was also in front of the place. And we know that she was basically confronting Old Bag as well, because we think Old Bag basically stole her stuff, which is why she knows all of this. This is rough. This is really rough. Would have been convenient. But nothing about that, nothing about any of this feels like a contradiction. I hate this. I hate this so much because there is apparently a contradiction in here somewhere, but I'm just not seeing it. Like, the only thing I could maybe think of would be if we could tie it to Adrian instead. But again, like, nothing that I'm seeing contradicts the current state of facts, where after Juan was murdered, then Adrian entered the room, discovered the body, and put this wine glass down. There is also just the matter of his own scarf being used to choke him to death. I don't get what the game's trying to get me to do. I might just need to make a save state, so then that way I could maybe try to get some guesses in. Well, there's the fact, like, was it actually, like, I guess it would be the Nickel Samurai, but again, we have to prove that it was someone else in the costume. How do we prove that it was Adrian? Convenient for him to wear during the murder. So he must have worn the costume when he was stabbing. Well, I'm gonna make a save state. Okay, so what exactly could I present that might be helpful? I don't think it's any person. Any person doesn't feel like anything contradictory here. Stolen on the night of the murder, tabloid article about the victim was in the case. I mean, she's told us all about this other stuff, which tells us that she did, in fact, like, confront Lauda. So I wonder if maybe, but she's testifying that she saw the Steel Samurai enter into Juan's room. It would have been convenient to wear his costume because he had the post-ceremony stage show. So he must have worn the costume when he was killing Juan. I don't think Lada's thing really comes into play because there's nothing really to say that, because this is all just entering Juan's room. I hate this. I hate this so much because I'm not seeing what the contradiction is, and I'm probably going to be like, that was it? I made a save state. Let's try the wine glass. Nope, I didn't think so. Alright, we're probably gonna get a game over by the end of this. Okay. Could also be that this just isn't what I need to do. Victim's blood and on guard's fingerprints, but I already tried the autopsy report. Yeah, the post-ceremony show was at 8:30. So the time matches. The time matches up with everything that we've seen here. I just can't think of anything else. Like, what else do I try to do? The knife? Objection! What?! It? How? Phoenix, elaborate, please, because I'm certainly confused. Please take a look at this. Yeah, so it's a knife. Big deal. If you're trying to scare me with that, I'll have you know it won't work. Now, that's not my intention at all. That's the knife that was used in the murder, correct? Your Honor, do you know why this piece of evidence is important to this case? You don't even have to ask. It's because the defendant's fingerprints are on it. Is that what you're driving at? That is exactly what I'm driving at. What are we driving at, and whose car are we driving? If Mr. Enguarde was really in the Nickel Samurai's costume at the time of the murder, then it's impossible for his fingerprints to have been left on this knife. Oh, because it was gloves. But it was just his steak knife. That did not register to me at all. Actually, he would have wiped all previous fingerprints on this knife right off. Oh, that's right. The Nickel Samurai wears gloves, doesn't he? Objection! He probably took his gloves off before he began the stabbing. Objection! And why would he do something like that? To leave his prints on the murder weapon? There's no way he would do something like that. However, there is one possibility. Then let's hear your possibility! It's very simple. The defendant went to the victim's room while in costume as the Steel Samurai. At that time, the defendant held no intent to murder. He was probably just going to relax and talk with the victim about the stage show. Which is why he took his gloves off. But the murder still did take place. It's well known that there was bad blood between the defendant and the victim. Yes, I've heard that before. Well, Mr. Wright, what do you have to say about Mr. Edgeworth's theory? So let me get this straight. Edgeworth's theory goes like this. When the defendant went to the victim's room, he had no intention of killing him. Now, up to this point, are there any problems with this theory? Okay, so the Steel Samurai went in. I mean, there's just the knife that. Why would you have the knife then? Admittedly, like, the scarf? The scarf does seem like that wasn't the original intent. Think about it one more time. Okay. When the defendant went to the victim's room, he had no intention of killing. The knife, maybe, but let me think if there's no problems. Can't see any real problems with this theory. But if you let Edgeworth's theory stand, then we're one very large step closer to a guilty verdict. Look at the court record again and take another shot at it. Yeah, I just have to think about it one more time. Okay, so there is... So is it the knife then? This theory contradicts something in an earlier testimony. What are you babbling about? Now, for argument's sake, let's suppose Mr. On Guard was the killer. If that's the case, I think it's impossible for the killer to have gone to the victim's room without intent. Without intent? The knife itself indicates intent then. Because it was missing from his room. Take that! This knife, this was used by Mr. On Guard at dinner. Yes, we did establish that. Which means that if my client was, in fact, the killer, then he brought this knife with him when he went to visit Mr. Corrida. I suppose. However, you just said it yourself. At that time, the defendant held no intent to murder. If that were true, then why would he bring a knife? He wouldn't, would he? Which means, Mr. Edgeworth, your theory was flawed from supposition 1. And one more thing. If the murderer was wearing the costume at the time of the murder, then there should be glove marks left on the knife. Which means the defendant's fingerprints shouldn't be all over it like beeves on a hive. And that brings me to my final point. This knife was planted by the real killer to hide their identity and mislead us. Order! Order, I say! Order in the court! Was this knife really planted by the killer? Why would the murderer do such a thing? Both? Both, I think! I mean, I could basically say to hide the murder method, because that's on the autopsy report. He was strangled to death. And then the knife came. So, I mean, that would be my... I mean, both of these feel like they should be right. But yeah, let's go hide the murder method, because I feel like that would... That's a lot more easy to prove with evidence. It's to hide the way in which the murder was carried out, of course. More of your nonsense. Take another good look at the autopsy report. The victim actually died from strangulation. The killer tried to hide this by stabbing a knife into the victim's chest. But doesn't the autopsy admit that the cause of death was strangulation? Well, yes, the real cause of death was easily discovered. Then I'd say the knife did a terrible job of concealing this fact. Damn it! And that laugh doesn't do a very good job of concealing your error either. Mr. Wright, I will ask you one more time. Was this knife really planted by the killer? Why would the murderer do such... Well, I guess it's to frame Matt then. It's to frame my client, Mr. On Guard, of course. To frame? Objection! Aren't you forcing the interpretation just a little too hard on this one? Objection! But we just established that the witness saw the Nickel Samurai in costume. And if that were true, then there shouldn't be a single fingerprint on this knife. Ugh. Witness! Looks like I made your life a teeny bit more difficult, huh, Edgy Poo? Witness, did you or did you not really see the Nickel Samurai? Well, I guess at first I might have forgotten, but... Are you saying you mixed up Mr. On Guard with the Nickel Samurai, his character on TV? What do you mean? I can't really do anything about that now. Look, I was hanging around in front of their doors because, well, I wasn't waiting around for the Nickel Samurai, that's for sure. She wasn't waiting for the Nickel Samurai. Alright then, who were you waiting around for then?
That's top secret to anyone outside of security.
I have a feeling that you were waiting for Mr. Juan Carita. Am I correct, witness?
The way you think, you are a sad amateur with a terrible case of nearsightedness.
Amateur? Me? What am I an amateur of? So Oldbag was waiting around in front of the victim's room. But it doesn't sound like she was waiting to catch a glimpse of Mr. Carita. Maybe. Phoenix, maybe the old bag was waiting around for that person. If it's who I think Mia's hinting at, it's certainly possible. Miss Oldbag, you were waiting for this person to come out of the victim's room, weren't you? Adrian.
Take that!
Who's this person? This is Adrian Andrews, Mr. On Guard's manager. But why would the defendant's manager be in the victim's room? It seems that this is the latest rumor in circulation, Your Honor. Oh, this is... I see. The judge seems to be really into the article, if it can be called such a thing. Then this manager with the initials AA... Are you saying it's... Adrian Andrews, without a doubt. The witness thought so as well.
Looks like you found me out. Well, that's fine. I can throw away this whole sworn to confidentiality stuff then.
Witness? What in the world are you... Watch out, Phoenix. I've got a bad feeling about this. A very bad feeling.
I got some information. Some very secret information from a certain source. So that's why I was doing my own little investigation. In secret, of course.
But what for?
Oh, just for myself. Personal reasons and all that.
Well, Mr. Edgeworth, how will you proceed from here? I really don't want to do this. However, I cannot simply let this point slide. I see. Very well then. Witness, please testify about this secret information.
Get ready. This is gonna take the wind out of you youngins.
I'm sure we're all capable of handling this. Really? It's not like we're 10 years old. Yeah, boy, and I've already wasted so many points. Well, we'll get through this and then we will call it a day. I'm gonna have to make sure that I hold on to that save state, because I'm gonna need it if I need to go back and get some extra points.
That Uncard is one evil, evil man. He thought he could ruin poor Juan by causing a huge scandal. So to do that, he sent his own manager to get in close with Juan. I cannot condone such dirty tricks, so I took action. Oh, and this is top secret. You got that? No one else but you and me know it, okay?
The defendant sent his manager? What a distasteful topic for this court.
What? Nobody's above gossip. And isn't there a saying, the truth is never pleasant?
Never heard that one before. Mr. Edgeworth, what about this Adrian Andrews person? We have looked into this matter and found that the truth the article proposes is, in fact, baseless gossip. But should this be true, then this proves that the defendant did bear ill will towards the victim. So this means I have to smash this rumor once and for all. Now then, Mr. Wright, you may cross-examine the witness. Be careful. The old bag seems rather excited right now.
That's right! Uncard is nothing but your average foul-blooded youth!
Well, as the old saying goes, you gotta burn old bags with fire. Time to fire up the afterburners and hit the highway to the danger zone. Phoenix, I'm pretty sure you combined like 5 different sayings there. Okay. Well, with that, we're gonna call it a day. So, next time on Let's Play Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney, Justice for All. We're gonna go on with Old Bag's 3rd layer of testimony. Keep that old save state so that way, if I need to regain points, I can. And hopefully we won't lose any more points. Probably not gonna happen, but one can dream. So, until next time, everyone, take care.